You are watching another episode of Shane Solomon Meets, brought to you by the Cornwall channel. I'm your host, Shane Solomon, and today I'm really excited to meet Georgia Cummings. Are you feeling good?
I am.
Great. Well, I'm so glad you're finally here in the studio. We've met a couple of times on the networking circuit here in Cornwall. I want to find out all about you, so we're going to get straight into it. Marketing, content marketing. This is you, isn't it?
Yes.
So what can you offer my connections, people out there in LinkedIn world?
So my services are social media specialist services. I create content using my iPhone, and I kind of have worked up skills in kind of finessing the kind of iPhone content, using it for all of its capabilities. But, you know, it's a very quick, easy process. It's kind of like finessing that process to get it to be as smart and as efficient as possible with kind of like as low as a budget as possible, basically. So I film content, and then I kind of plan and create reels and posts and stories for social media from that. And then I'll kind of spend a bulk amount of time scheduling everything onto different platforms and making sure it all looks like it's going to go smoothly for the next month. Hitting like high engagement on things, making sure people want to come back, getting people talking, starting a conversation, creating a community online, basically. And I'm really passionate about working with brands that I really believe in. So most brands in Cornwall and like, you know, businesses that are growing. I like to support anything Cornish. Yeah.
And let's be honest, content really is king, isn't it? I mean, these platforms, as we all know, are free to join. You don't have to pay to be on Instagram. You don't have to pay to be on Facebook or even TikTok. But you've still got to keep delivering that content to update your followers and to build that engagement. So for a business to be able to engage with someone like you and take away that kind of job, then, if you like, and leave it to you is key.
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole world of knowledge and skills that I've been building up over years. And for a company to be able to outsource, you know, a few days a month even, it's such a good return on investment for their business, the brand awareness. You know, it's really important to have that digital footprint of like your brand, what you're about, people can find super easily. And it's just, putting across that brand identity with everything you do, just create a really strong brand.
So let's take an average small to medium-sized business in Cornwall, and they don't have a budget to employ someone, you know, whatever that fee would be. For your services then, how many days, and I don't want to quote prices on this and date the podcast, but how many days would you say you would need with a smallish company to get them set up for the month to have some good monthly output?
So I say, so I'm currently working with a company of that size, and we're starting on 3 to 4 days a month. And that, when you look at that in terms of hours, it gives you enough time to do maybe 2 content shoots. So whether that's inside a premises or kind of out and about, whatever your kind of brand or company wants to be posting. That gives you kind of times to get some bulk content, and then hours for scheduling, and then hours for review as well, which is really important to keep that cycle going. So if, you know, sparing 3 to 4 days a month is all you kind of really need to get started.
And have some kind of impact.
Yeah.
I do want to talk and just change the subject a minute and get the other kind of personality of you in the podcast. And that, of course, whilst I was giving you the studio tour earlier on, you mentioned about your music and everything like that. So I'm a bit of a singer, or I class myself as a bit of a singer.
I've heard.
I do enjoy doing it. But where did your journey with music come into your life? At an early age, or?
Yes, at an early age. So my father was a musician. and my mother has always played really good music to me from a young age. And our family is very musical. My brother is a musician. Just grew up around really good music. My mum always played me Fleetwood Mac, Joni Mitchell,
love that.
Led
Love that.
Zepp,
Yeah.
Eric Clapton.
Love all those.
And that is kind of what gave me a really good foundation of understanding what good music is. And then going to see live bands with my brother when I was younger. And then I got, we inherited a piano from my grandma when I was about 8. And it was in my mum's house, and I decided I wanted to get lessons. So my brother's friend, Ellen, she first taught me piano when I was quite young and probably quite unruly as a student. But yeah, it kind of went from there. And then I trained classically for a while, and I was always singing, and I started writing songs when I was like 11 or 12. I used to write songs for my family for Christmas and make everyone sit around and listen to me perform.
Better than a present though, right?
Yeah,
You see?
I think so. Then when I was about 13, 14, I self-taught guitar. I started playing guitar. My music teacher at school, he wrote me out some chord diagrams, and I just used to sit there and play and play and play until my hands could keep up.
Can you do bar chords?
I can.
Wow,
I've even got there. Yeah, I know.
So you can play an F.
Yeah,
that's like a stretch.
The B minor is
the B minor. What is that?
That's what I'm really trying to get down at the moment. But yeah,
I think a lot of people are.
Yeah,
that's a tough chord. That one, you know.
It's the best chords though. You get those really nice jazzy, bluesy sounds.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So yeah, I started gigging as well when I was in school, and I was always singing at the kind of end of year school shows and whatnot. And I did music at uni. So at Falmouth University, I studied popular music, and then I started producing and releasing stuff myself when I was kind of in my earlier 20s. So that's been kind of my music journey.
Early 20s, I thought that's where you are now.
Well,
right?
I'm mid-20s now. I'll be 26 this year.
Yeah, well, you're obviously at a downhill paper round because, you know, you obviously haven't aged, you know, at all. You know, you're still very young looking. I hate people
I
like
get
you.
ID'd for lighters.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
Everything.
Yeah, and then people come up to me and go, oh, I didn't realise you were as young as, you know, you say you are. You know, that's because I've had an uphill paper round and worked really hard, you know, so I've aged really bad. But, you know, I'm only 25. But
what can you do?
So if you could leave the viewers with a bit of a tip, you know, for social media, what would that be? Just a little freebie takeaway kind of tip, you know, it doesn't have to be massive and groundbreaking, but what would it be?
I think it all starts with knowing your brand and knowing what kind of personality your brand has. You need to kind of picture it like it's a person and it's got qualities to it. And what's the personality of it like? How does it talk, you know? Because once you get that down and you talk to someone that knows a lot about social media, then you can really create something that's driven and purposeful and meaningful.
It is that old adage, really, that people buy from people, don't they? I think if you're, you know, if you're out there and being quite authentic and the way that you present yourself and people can see what your morals are and get the energy and the passion across, then they're more likely to do business with you as opposed to talking to just a branded logo.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about that authenticity for me and showing real passion in what you're doing.
Indeed. Now, I put this series on my YouTube channel, which I've just started, and also mainly on LinkedIn, just to introduce a lot of my, you know, followers and friends on LinkedIn to new people that I'm meeting all the time. We were talking before going live in here about networking, your partnerships, Cornwall Chamber of Commerce, and that's how we met, through the Cornwall Chamber of Commerce at Healy's, wasn't it?
Yes.
I think it was the first time.
Yeah, that was my first one.
Was it really? And I nabbed you for an interview on that day, didn't I?
Yeah, I had the full whelm because, I was new environment, on camera, let's go.
Straight in there. And how important is networking for you then, Georgia?
So important. It's given me a foundation to launch my business this year. And I felt so supported, and it's given me so much confidence. And to just have people that kind of rallying you online and, you know, in person, and giving me a space to talk as well. It's great.
If you was to see any kind of development in the networking scene in Cornwall, what would you suggest? Is there something you're looking for? Because, I mean, I know both of the networks I've mentioned do great things. They do breakfast meetings, lunch meetings,
Mm.
surf meetings, you know, there's
Yeah.
lots of different evening meetings, bowling meetings, golf meetings. What would you like to see? Or are you happy the way it is at the minute and can't think of anything?
I think that the way that the networking leads are growing in Cornwall, it's going in a really good direction, and I can constantly see it's growing and it's healthier. I think kind of bringing even more young people like me into it would be great. So maybe like a more of a partnership with the unis, and just kind of getting, you know, kind of people to kind of come along, because it is a bit nerve-wracking.
It is.
But I think if there's more younger people, it would be less nerve-wracking for them. So yeah, I think there was some bits going on with Cornwall Chamber that was kind of like a young entrepreneurs group.
That's
I think
right.
there should be more of that going on. But other than that, yeah, people are smashing it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that's a great idea. So like rave networking is that what you're talking about? So what youngsters
Yeah.
do these days. Hi, my name's Shane. You know?
yeah, something like that.
Now, these are only short little podcasts. I could talk to you for hours, to be honest. But is there anything you would like to mention whilst you're here? Anything that you're looking to work on? Any connections that you're looking for? Anything exciting you've got coming up? Anything at all that I've not asked you about?
Yeah, so I have I've got new clients that I'm starting with at the moment that I'm in the throes of, working with hospitality, holiday rental companies. So I'm kind of very much in that like Cornwall tourism sphere. But I would really love to work with some kind of like fashion, clothing kind of companies that kind of do like sustainable clothing inspired by Cornwall. I love like art and Cornish art, so kind of hitting more of an arty fashion client would be ideal for the end of the year for me. It's something that I would really like to to aim towards.
No, good stuff. Well, I'm pretty sure I've got people that match that description in my network. But Georgia, honestly, thank you so much for coming up today.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you another little whistle-stop tour of the premises when we finish here and go back to the green room. So your first initial thoughts on the studios? You've turned here for the first time today, so.
It's great. And it's like, as soon as I got here, I was like, oh, it's so peaceful, surrounded by the moors and the fields, and you can just hear birds outside. And it really sets your mind at rest. Knowing that you might be on camera or talking to someone, it's just so comfortable and chilled. And yeah, you've done up all the space. It's really lovely. You've got really nice buildings here. So yeah.
Oh, that's very kind. Well, I'm glad you get that vibe. That's what we're
Good
after.
vibes.
But that's it for now. If you're not already connected to Georgia, make sure you do so. Follow in my description. But if you know of anyone doing anything remarkable here in Cornwall, or in fact the whole world, the planet, let me know. Drop me an email, shane@cornwallchannel.co.uk. But as always, I'd like to say thank you to Jay Kennett, who has produced today's podcast and even delayed his lunch to make sure that we got it done. So that's it from me. Georgia, thank you very much, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah.